Imagine waking up at dawn to find your entire town silent. Uncooked food rests on clay hearths, and heavy brass pots sit beside dry wells, but there are no signs of a struggle. Every single person has simply vanished. This scenario is a documented historical reality. Across the Indian subcontinent, thousands of thriving communities have been completely erased from the map, leaving only empty shells in their place. The most famous is the village of Kuldhara. Local folklore claims that 1,500 people fled into the desert in a single night to escape a demonic minister's ultimatum, leaving behind a dark curse that keeps the ruins empty to this day. But the forces that actually wipe out human settlements are grounded in a logic far more persistent than any paranormal myth. By examining 3 distinct Indian ruins, we can identify the 3 mechanisms of civilizational collapse: slow environmental death, sudden cataclysm, and modern economic starvation. Kuldhara was built deep within the Thar Desert, a landscape defined by shifting dunes and a total lack of surface water. Survival here relied on high-precision engineering and the management of underground reservoirs. While the legend of Salim Singh's overnight ultimatum is more dramatic, archaeological surveys show no evidence of a panicked 24-hour exodus. The houses tell a story of long-term deterioration. The wear on these sandstone walls matches the pattern of a gradual population decline, with families departing over many years rather than a single night. Scientific evidence reveals the primary killer: a catastrophic multi-decade drop in groundwater levels. As the ancient wells dried up, the village's agricultural foundation slowly turned to dust. This environmental decay was accelerated by the Jaisalmer state, which imposed crushing taxes even as the water supply vanished. The inhabitants were being financially squeezed at the exact moment their survival became impossible. Over generations, oral traditions simplified this agonizing, decades-long process into a single symbolic story of a sudden curse and a midnight flight. Kuldhara represents slow collapse, the proof that sustained environmental and economic pressure will eventually force any population to its breaking point. At the coastal tip of Pamban Island, the seaside town of Dhanushkodi faced the opposite extreme. This site illustrates the second killer of civilization: sudden, overwhelming natural cataclysm. On December 22, 1964, a massive tropical cyclone formed in the South Andaman Sea and tracked perfectly towards this vulnerable strip of land. The storm struck with 280 km/h winds, pushing a massive 7-meter tidal wave across the island, high enough to engulf entire mid-century structures. 1,800 people died, including all 115 passengers, when the surge completely swallowed the Pamban Dhanushkodi train. The physical remnants show the violence of the erasure. Sturdy stone buildings were gutted in an instant, leaving only these skeletal arches as evidence of the town's former infrastructure. Following the disaster, the government declared the marooned area permanently unfit for human habitation. Dhanushkodi proves that while some collapses take decades, nature can erase a thriving community in a matter of hours. High in the Himalayas, a different kind of erasure is happening right now, fueled by the isolation of the mountains. Modern audits reveal a staggering statistic. There are currently 1,792 completely abandoned villages in the state of Uttarakhand alone. The houses in these villages look almost lived in. Light blue paint still clings to the walls, and heavy wooden doors are locked tight, left behind by residents who were here just a few years ago. This is the third killer of civilization: modern socioeconomic starvation. These villages have no primary healthcare, no schools, and no reliable roads. When basic amenities vanish and wildlife conflicts increase, the inhabitants are forced to move to the cities simply to survive. This map shows how these ghost villages cluster tightly along the northern border, creating a demographic vacuum along highly sensitive boundary lines. By leaving the border empty, these abandoned towns create a massive strategic gap that directly impacts national security. Without economic opportunity or essential infrastructure, modern communities will voluntarily exile themselves, leaving their ancestral homes to rot in the mountains. These ruins are scattered across every corner of the country, monuments to a process that repeats throughout human history. These sites reveal that human settlement is a fragile, ongoing struggle against environmental decay, natural cataclysm, and economic isolation. They shouldn't be viewed as just haunted attractions for travelers. They are evidence of what happens when the systems that support human life are severed. The underlying logic is universal. Whether a desert well or an urban power grid, once baseline systems of survival fail, a population will break. A metropolis is just a larger collection of these same needs, and without resources, protection, and opportunity, any modern city could become tomorrow's ghost town. To join us as we explore more dark history, hit the subscribe button right now, and tell us in the comments, which of these three forces do you think poses the biggest threat to our cities today?